This is the Red Bull Rant podcast. If you aren't expecting adult language, why even bother listening?
Welcome, my friends, to the show never ends. This is the Red Bull Rant podcast. I'm your host, Jason Ipico.
I'm Truman, and this is episode 461, Highs and Low.
I feel like the low needed that.
Yeah, it was pretty low.
Yeah. I mean, I could go lower, but...
There's only one lower thing, and it's the lowest.
Lowest common denominator.
I had to find it.
There it is.
So my setup is I have my phone, but it only gives me like 12 at a time, and I never pre-programmed that one on the phone, so I had to find it on the bigger one. Anyway.
Bam. Quick.
All right, so the thing. This is what I get for knowing where something is and then going away from it. There we go. All right. I'm good now. I'm good.
You sure?
Yeah. Hey, it may have been 2 weeks. I'm a little rusty, but we're good. Yeah. Listen, work sucks sometimes, especially when you're pulling like 12-hour days.
Yeah.
It sucks. It happens, but Red Bulls. So we have three matches to talk about. The first are two wins. First, a 3-1 win by Charlotte. Against Charlotte. Not by. 3-1 against Charlotte. Then a 1-0 against Orlando. But then, unfortunately, it was followed up by a 1-0 loss at New England.
It's fucking embarrassing!
So,
I could barely remember that we won games because that game was so dumb.
Because we actually had a full week off between the win and the loss. So, It felt like forever. All right. So before we get into... Actually, let's do tweets first because the voicemail is specific for New England. Let's do the tweets first. You got those ready?
I do. Yep. All right. So Taxi, our friend Steven Santos tweeted after our 3-1 win. We won, and I waited that fucking weather delay. Totally worth it. After the Orlando game, we have Christopher Skinner saying, great debut by O'Connor. Defense was solid all night. Morgan is full of energy. Should have been 2 or 3 goals, but I'll take it. Steven Santos, we won 2 home games, enough said. I was at wrestling in Atlantic City, so was my wife. Perfect weekend, fuck Florida and Miami. And then, sorry, let me get to the Revs game. Pierre Delecto said, absolutely fucking embarrassing. Play it 5 times because that was fucking bad. Yes, I am in New England watching this bullshit. Where were you, buddy? I was there too. I was actually looking around for you, but I didn't see you. And our friend Ruchesco said, that was so 2022 Red Bulls. I kept expecting Barlow to sub in. Also, I'm kind of hoping Sweden's 3-0 spanking by Serbia helps Forsberg get his priorities straight. Was that really worth flying 9 hours for? So there you go.
All right. And with that, let's now listen to our friend Eddie, who had his thoughts after the New England match.
This is genuinely some of the worst soccer I've seen in quite a fucking while. And I've been to DC away like 2 years ago where jack shit happened on the rainy. This was fucking terrible. Omar Valencia, get the fuck off the field. You don't even deserve to fucking play for this team. Seeing how you couldn't even finish a goddamn run. Terrible. Fucking terrible. And that's all I gotta say. Good night.
I wish I knew who when he was on the phone and made that call. I would have interrupted him.
If I remember correctly, I'm pretty sure Omar Valencia got called up too for his national team. Which, disclaimer, and I'm just gonna make this my like for New England. I didn't watch New England. I didn't watch it live. I just saw a few messages on our Red Bull Rant chat which made me believe that it wasn't worth watching. I asked you the question if it was worth it. You told me no.
Hell no. Hell no.
I just watched the goal we gave up, and that was the only thing I watched out of that whole match. Because I had to see how bad defending. Yeah.
Rough. It was rough.
All right. So likes, I just kind of gave one of mine. The other is that we actually won a game by more than a goal, which, like you said, felt like forever ago at this point.
Yep.
But it is what it is. All right. Your thoughts on the game?
Well, are we back? Let's back all the way up to the two home games, right? There's a lot to like. I mean, they came away with 2 results, 2 wins. That's what they needed. That's what we talked about before those games happened, right? You had to win those games. Have to win games against kind of mediocre or bad teams. They did that. Forsberg looked incredible. You are clearly seeing the difference with him on the team and him not on the team. It's mind-boggling, the disparity between those two. He was outstanding. Hard play. Yeah, the second game, the only one 1-0, but it was a fucking awesome free kick that Tolkien scored. And they hung on. And I'm sure it's kind of a little bit of a gas team playing that second game, on a Saturday after just playing on Wednesday. But they used the home field to their advantage, got those wins. And that's what mattered when you're playing at home.
You win at home, you draw on the road. That's the MLS/CONCACAF way. We didn't do the draw part, but at least we got the wins, right? That's the important thing.
Yeah.
Because of that, we're in 4th place at least at the moment. So that is something. And you know what? I'll throw this in there as we broke Charlotte's goalless streak, their defensive streak. So it's amazing how when you break a streak like that, it's just floodgates open for the rest of that match. So
yeah.
All right. Dislikes. Let you go first. What were your biggest dislike for these 3 matches?
Well, I think Francesco said it best. That was last year's team that we watched in New England. It was your typical last year game where they have few chances on offense. They can't score on them. You just wait and wait and wait and wait and wait and wait. And then boom, they give up the 1 goal and they lose 1-0. We saw it 1,000 times last year. And that's, again, no Lewis Morgan, half the team was gone. Not mad at Ryan Mara. He didn't do anything wrong. He actually played really well in that game. But when you have most of your top players gone, those are results. And unfortunately, Van Zier, Frankie Amaya, Manuel, none of those guys can do anything to generate a lot of really quality scoring chances. It was pretty much get the ball into the final third and throw your hands up in the air and not know what to do. It was extremely, extremely frustrating to watch, and more frustrating to be there live watching it. That was really the worst part, because I don't think I've ever seen the Red Bulls win or draw in New England every time I've gone there.
Like I said, I'm glad I didn't watch it. I think that this is just going to be kind of echoing the same point as you, is when the big guns are out, we need to still be able to perform. And I don't know where I saw this, but it's true. Van Zier is getting paid designated player money, and at some point he has to put up designated player performances.
Yep.
That needs to happen with or without the other players there. He had the string of 2 or 3 matches where he actually assisted, and then he's been kind of quiet since.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what's going on. I don't know if he can be a top level guy, but if he's not, I hate to say it, but maybe this year is the last year he's here, because we can't keep a place for him on the roster if we're not producing.
And you've already seen him. They started the game on the bench because they had 2 games in a short amount of time. But I started the second game, I believe, on the bench. Well, they had Manuel start that game. You'd hope when they're just playing once a week, that with a full roster, that maybe he gets more touches with Forsberg being there, with Morgan being there. But you're right. In that game, that's the guy you want to step up, right? Your designated player, and he didn't.
Well, he's going to have to step up because we're missing Forsberg for a bit.
Yep.
For the Euros. We're now going to miss Lewis Morgan for the Euros because he got selected to Scotland.
Yep.
remember who or Cornell's. I mean, granted, Cornell's not an offensive player, but Cornell's going to be gone. LA is gone for a bit. Tolkien's gone for. Is he gone? He's actually going to be back into the Olympics, right?
Yeah, he should be
playing in Copa. But these guys that have stepped up and become like the core group of this team are out. The only designated player left on the roster, or the game day roster, has to at some point produce and take over. I mean, it's just how it is. You get, and I know MLS doesn't pay a lot of money unless you're Messi, but
right, if you're around Miami.
If you're getting paid relative big money, you must put up big numbers. That's just, it's not an MLS thing. It's you're getting paid, you produce thing.
Right.
All right. Any other afterthoughts for these matches?
There was no you didn't have to pay to park at Gillette Stadium, so that was nice. I will give them that. I fucking hated parking the other side of the Route 1 and having to walk through the parking lot, across the road, down through Patriot Place to the stadium. We got tickets at the game. It took forever to find the teeny tiny box office. It is literally it's like 4 windows. 4 windows in a corner that we had to ask 2 different people how we defined it. It was kind of annoying. But what I did like is that when they gave us seats to sit on the side where the fort is, we did not do that. We just walked right over to the Red Bull section and sat in there. No one even asked. No one bothered to look. No one cared. I'm like, I got a Red Bull jersey on. We're just going to walk in there.
I mean, unless Miami's in town, nobody's going to enforce the tickets. So,
yeah. It was very last minute, actually. We were in Mystic, Connecticut, and we were just kind of like, hey, Red Bulls are in Foxborough. It's literally on the way home. We're not detouring at all. So we're like, fuck it, let's just go. It was a beautiful night. And unfortunately, they played like absolute horseshit, and I just stared at a field with nothing happening for 90 minutes.
So you're saying it was a beautiful night?
It was, but I did not have to pay for park. Also, getting out of that stadium is a fucking nightmare. I probably will not go back there for a very long time.
How was it getting out of a nightmare? I figure if there's not a lot of people there, relatively, it would have been easier.
No, so I will tell you this about that game. They had a very, very robust crowd at that game. The whole lower bowl was mostly full. I was shocked myself, but I think because it was a really nice night, they must have been doing some kind of discounts because there's a billion kids there, tons and tons of kids. This was the really weird thing. All these kids, like these boys that were 12 years old. Jay, I don't know why, and it was very strange. We're all taking their shirts off and twirling their shirts around. You looked in every section, and there was just boys taking their shirts off. I'm like, what the fuck is happening around here? It's not 90 degrees.
Is that a New England thing?
No, it was weird. It was weird. My wife noticed at first. She's like, what's up with all these kids taking their shirts off? I said, what are you talking about? You look at her like, the fuck is going on? It was bizarre. But listen, getting out of there. Now, mind you, it's just the lower bowl, so it's not a Patriots game where the whole place is full.
So it's probably at most 25, 30,000 at most.
Yeah, probably something like that. I wouldn't even say there's 30,000 people, but the problem is it's Route 1, which is 4 lanes, 2 on each side with lights. And it takes forever to get out of the parking lot. Again, it's for a Revs game. It took forever. And then get on Route 1, you just sit on Route 1. And we crawled, and finally I was able to find a detour, so we kind of took these back roads for a little bit. But, I mean, that place sucks. It sucks so hard to get out of.
Basically, it's like trying to get onto the turnpike after a Giants game from the old Meadowlands Stadium.
I'd rather do that because you can kind of plow through everybody just to get on one of the highways there. You know,
sure.
There's no maneuvering here, none. You're just stuck.
Yeah, at least the Meadowlands, you get Route 3 or some of the back roads through North Jersey. You get to another turnpike exit or whatever, but yeah. Wow.
Yeah, no, there's no escaping the insanity that is fucking Gillette. That's
good to know. Not that I'm planning to go there, but good to know.
I wouldn't.
No pain index because, again, work sucks and I've been busy. I haven't thought about it, so sorry. This is how bad work has been for me. Today is Thursday, and I have worked. Today I am at 45 hours.
Holy Christ.
45 hours, and I still got at least 8 hours tomorrow.
Ugh.
So, this sucks one of those times where it's really busy and you can't do anything about it. Anyway. Prediction standings. Truman got 4 points over the last 3 matches. Puts him at 11. I got 2 points. 9. Fucking defense against Charlotte. Thank you, Cornell, for yelling at him because they cost me 2 points in the standings.
They did indeed. They did indeed.
As soon as that goal goes, I'm like, God damn it. Of course it's going to happen like that. That's the only thing that kind of ruined that night was the fact that Truman got 3 points.
Right.
All right. Well, we'll each have more chance for points coming up. So double match week. Because you got to make room for Leagues Cup.
Oh,
and international break means nothing to MLS. First match is on Saturday, June 15th, 7:30 p.m., where the Red Bulls will host Nashville FC for their second match of the year. 2024 has not been great for Nashville. 4-7-5, -2 goal difference, 19 points. Number 9 in the East. And remember, we had the 0-0 draw on the road opening week of the year where Sean Davis got a red and then VAR took it away. Truman, what is your prediction for this match?
It's still minus a bunch of guys. I mean, I think a 1-0 win isn't too much to ask for against a crappy team. You're still home. You're hot at home, but I don't expect a ton of firepower. And I think sneaking out that 1-0 victory is probably the best we can ask for.
I really want to hope they win, but I also feel like we're not going to because our team kind of sucks when our big guys aren't there. If I predict a win, I don't want to say 1-0 though, because I feel like that's just. I know it's way too early for gamesmanship, but screw it. I'll say a win. I'm not going to say 1-0 though, but we're not getting any blowout, so it's going to be a 2-1 victory. Somehow we'll get this fluke second goal and somehow snag a win. But yeah, I can't imagine us doing much better than that.
No, this is not going to be some kind of. They're not a massively offensive team anyway, and right minus some good players, you're just not going to see anything great.
And I think there's only 2 games all year we've gotten 3 or more goals. So, next up for the Red Bulls would then be Wednesday, June 19th, 7:30 p.m., where they will travel north of the border to take on Montreal. Montreal coming into that game, the weekend with a 4-5-7 record, -12 goal difference, 17 points, number 12 in the East. Not doing great either. What's your prediction for our trip up to Quebec?
You know who also wasn't doing great? The Revs. And what happened there? We sucked and we lost. So let's just put that right back on. 1-0 loss in this game. Because again, I don't expect that was a full team, and we will definitely play down to another yet a crappy opponent and lose.
Yeah. Love how New England was or is last in the East, and that game saved them from being last in the league.
Yep.
They beat us.
Yep.
You know what? I'm going to say loss as well because we're not going to do well. No. We play on the weekend, then we got to travel, and then I'm pretty sure we got to travel back for another weekend game, right? So like 3 games in 7 or 8 days. It's like the worst possible thing. I'm going to say because we're on the road, it's going to be worse than 1-0. I'm going to say 2-0 loss. If we were at home, I would say maybe it's a draw, but knowing our team, we're not winning this. And I'm going to say this now. This will be my semi-bold prediction for these 2 matches. Brian Mara is not going to be the reason we lose these games.
No, God, no. No.
Not where defending leaves the fucking blind or weak side attacker completely open.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Moving on. Gotham FC won their last match 2-1 against Angel City FC, which extends their unbeaten streak to 7. They are now 6-3-2 in the league, 21 points, a +4 goal difference. Still number 5 in the NWSL. They also have 2 matches coming up. First one Saturday, June 15th at Racing Louisville, which will be at 12 p.m. And then on Wednesday, June 19th, they'll be at Red Bull Arena taking on the San Diego Wave. So if you want to see some good soccer, maybe go to Red Bull Arena instead of watching the Red Bulls. New York Red Bulls 2, their last two matches, they lost 3-2 at New York City FC2, and then won 2-1 when they hosted PFC2. Their record on the year is 5-3-5, 20 points, a -6 goal difference, number 7 in the Eastern Conference. And their next match is tomorrow, June 14th, where they will travel to take on New England Revolution number 2 at 7 p.m. With that, it is time for the F1 update.
And box now, box for hard. Stay out.
Fuck! What
Tire.
Now that was a fun weekend, wasn't it?
Rain makes everything fun, apparently.
Right? Rain always makes things exciting. It was a fun race to watch. Everything definitely was not decided from the start of the race. A bunch of people did not finish, one of them being Checo. Ferrari had a terrible day, but Max pulls out the win, but Lando Norris is second. I mean, and he was close. He had some chances. That was exciting.
If it wasn't for that pit exit, he probably is first.
Yep. I mean, after the absolute doldrums that was Monaco, I kind of told some people that watched that race and said how bad it was. I said, well, watch this one. I said, this one will be exciting. And it was. It was a great race. Daniel Ricciardo got some points. It was fun. It was finally fun. Like that's what Formula One needed in this time zone too, which of course is huge.
The Haas team, both of them jumping up like 7-8 points or 70 standings for like the first 10 or so laps until the track dried out because wets don't work on a dry track.
Yeah. So they got a week off and then they're heading to Spain. So we'll talk a little bit more next week.
Then they have, it looks like, 3 weeks in a row.
Yep, they do.
Good. We're not back in the U.S. until the 20th.
Yeah, it's a big break after this one, and so they head because now it's the last American race is Austin.
The last one is Vegas, November.
Oh, Vegas, you're right. Sorry, Vegas.
Not F1, but for some reason I decided to look up the IndyCar race from this weekend. I'm like, you know what? Let me just see how that looks.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, the relative downgrade in skills is glaring. You want to take a guess at how many caution flags there were in the first 10 laps of that race?
I would say at least 4.
Pretty sure it was 5, but you're close. Do you want to guess the earliest caution flag came out?
Yeah, lap 1.
But how far into lap 1?
I would say half a lap.
Turn 1. One turn. That's all they got to before caution came out.
That's amazing.
Although
amazing,
I feel like
not surprising. It's why I can't watch it. I just can't.
Although the track they were on, I kind of wish F1 would do, because I feel like a 4-mile track in F1 would be kind of interesting.
Yeah.
They won't, but I kind of wish it would be interesting. Because the start finish line, I can't remember if it was at the top of the hill or like just past the top of the hill. But imagine the standing start having to go uphill. Like you are standing at an angle. Unlike Austin where you start flat and then you a few hundred meters past the line, then you have to go up.
Yeah, yeah.
And they need to build it up, but the pit lane is on the hill too. So some teams are doing their pit stops uphill, some are doing them downhill. How much does pit position matter in that case?
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah. I think it'd be a kind of fun F1 event.
Make a little exciting.
Yeah. All right. Now it is time for the dumping ground.
I'm the trash man.
So I want to mention this, and we talked a little real quick before we started recording. The Savannah Bananas, who, if you do not know, is basically the Harlem Globetrotters of baseball now, had a game at Fenway Park. And this is important because the owner of the Bananas invented what they call banana ball, which is baseball with modified rules, where points are not doled out based on runs. It's you get 1 point for whoever wins the inning. There's a 2-hour time limit on the whole game. Foul balls caught by fans count as outs. There's on a walk, I think you get until the whole infield touches the ball, however many bases you can get. That's where you end up.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a bunch of different rules which make it interesting to watch. But most importantly, the thing about the bananas that make is just the amount of fun that they actually have. I think I watched the first inning of the game, and seeing a quote walk off in the first inning is weird, but then having the whole team break out into more than a feeling,
Yes.
it's just it's something. That's all I could say.
Plus, they had a couple Red Sox players participate. I know Papelbon was there. A couple other players too, so that was pretty cool. So they got some local players involved as well.
Damon probably would get booed because he went to the Yankees, but I feel like he should have been there.
Oh no, we would have gotten booed.
But the thing is, if you're interested in it, you can actually go to their YouTube page and just watch full games. They post like every single game they played. They're streaming it, so whether you're in the stadium or not, you can watch.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
This one is kind of random, but I just remembered. One, we have a cricket team in the U.S. We beat Pakistan, which is a huge thing in cricket.
Yep.
So it's a thing. They call it the T20 World Cup, and it's going on right now. And apparently, some of those matches are being played up in New York somewhere.
Because they built a stadium in Long Island. It
was a baseball stadium, and they converted it to cricket.
Yeah, they pretty much created a stadium there, which was really, really cool. I know some people went to it. I don't think they're even cricket fans. They were like, wow, this looks cool. Let's just go.
I'll admit, for cricket, it is kind of weird at times, but it makes a lot of sense too. It's almost like baseball. I think T20 makes the most sense because otherwise, like some of these matches where it lasts for like 3 days, you're just like, why the fuck are you playing so long?
Right? Yeah, it's crazy.
But if you are interested in watching it, the U.S.'s next game is tomorrow the 14th at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time, where they take on Ireland. So
just don't try to bother figuring out what the fuck is going on.
Basically, a home run's worth 6. The grand rule double's worth 2. I think it's 2. No, I'm sorry, 4. And if the ball hits the post, it's basically a strikeout.
Yeah, it's weird.
All right. Anything else to talk about for Dumping Ground?
Yeah, we're watching two probably the most uninteresting finals ever in the NBA Finals and NHL Finals, because right now the NBA Finals is 3-0 to the Celtics, and Florida is currently winning 4-1 in Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Finals. So you could possibly see 2 sweeps. And I'm sure ABC/Disney/ESPN is fucking hating it right now. Hating it.
Yeah, all that money, man.
Right, all that money dumped in advertising. I'm sure the arenas are going to hate it. You might straight up get 2 sweeps, and then they're both over. Yet again, Canada can't fucking win a Stanley Cup to save their lives. They haven't won since 1993. The Oilers they can't score goals. They cannot. I mean, everyone's learning that lesson when you're playing the Florida Panthers. Their defense is stupid. Their goaltending is ridiculous. But you have Connor McDavid and all of Canada praying you win, except for the Flames. They don't want you to win. But goddamn, woof, just bad. 2 bad series that could be over pretty much by the end of the week.
I kind of stopped paying attention when the Knicks and Rangers.
And that's fair.
In fairness, I didn't really watch those sports until the playoffs either, so I don't hate them. I used to watch, there was one year, actually, I think it was for both leagues, it was the year before their strikes in the 2010s, where I religiously watched them. And then I'm like, why am I going to go back to this? Because it's too many, what it is for me personally, it was too many games to watch, and I just couldn't keep up with it. So, yeah, my interest in that ended pretty quickly.
Yeah. Yep. I was hoping, oh man, because of course my wife's a big Celtics fan, so we're like, oh cool. Now, I mean, she'll be more than happy if they sweep, right? I mean, that's what you want out of your team. But I need a little bit more excitement. There's been none.
Yeah.
Give me the fucking overtime game. Anything.
All right. Is that it for Dumping Ground?
That's all I got.
Okay. Then it's time for the last segment of the show, Truman's Terrible Team of the Week.
That's terrible.
Here was the problem. Now I'm gonna pick. I believe it was We All Say It Like being Austin 5-1. Not this past weekend, but the weekend before, because last weekend there was only 4 games, so only 8 teams were subject to having fucking a bunch of their roster gone, and I think we were probably hurt the most. So that was dumb. But yeah, that's pretty much Austin. They got absolutely trounced by Utah, but not by the newly named Utah Hockey Club, which was announced today too. Utah Hockey Club. I hope they're called Real Utah Hockey Club.
They need a better name.
Listen, I love me some HC. I was kind of hoping that's where they were going. I didn't want the Yeti. I didn't want the Blizzard. I'm like, fucking do Hockey Club. Just do it. Just do it. Just like Washington did Washington football team for a year. Like, that's what I hoped to have, and it fucking happened. And I find it hilarious.
Although I do find it funny that American sports are starting to use more European names.
Yeah. Yep.
Washington football team. Honestly, if they kept that would have made sense.
Oh, I would have loved it. Loved it.
That was a better name than Washington Commanders.
Hell yeah, it is. And this is only temporary too, and so I think they'll probably do a vote and then pick something else. But I think this is just now so they can kind of make jerseys, make everything, prep the arena, all that kind of stuff.
The PWHL. I think that's what it's right. That was the women's league that just played this year.
Yeah.
Their names were just New York, Boston, Montreal, Minnesota. That was it. Honestly,
yeah, it's fine.
That's all you need.
Yep.
I think that league should just not go to branding at this point.
Yeah. They had a great turnout too for that last game that was in.
It was in Boston, right?
It was in Lowell, so it wasn't quite in Boston. It was at UMass Lowell. I actually was at that arena because the Lowell Devils used to play there way back when. So it was really cool. It's a minor league arena, but I love seeing that place packed for that final. That was really rad.
Well, the building in Minnesota, like the actual NHL arena there, was sold out for that game. I guess it was game 4 or something like that. I think it was best of 5, so game 4. But they were sold out, ready for that. It didn't work out from that night, but they were ready for that.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Is that it?
That's all I got.
Okay. Let's wrap this one up then. You can visit us at patreon.com/Red Bull Rant. $1 a month to get you exclusive content, which we have not been doing, but we will at some point. We want to thank our producers, Jeremiah Dempster, Steven Santos, Eddie Delecto, and Christopher Edmack. Thank you guys for supporting the show. Email address, you can email us at redbullrant@gmail.com. If you want to call us, leave us a voicemail like Eddie did, 973-348-5329. Facebook.com/Red Bull Rant. On Twitter at Red Bull Rant. For the show at Dr. Stooge, myself at The Truman for Truman. Subscribe to our show via iTunes, YouTube Music, YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, pretty much anywhere you can find a podcast. Last words before we get out of here.
I would appreciate if the Red Bulls did something that the Oilers can't do, and that is score more than one goal this weekend and fucking win.
So, for Truman and myself, this has been episode 461 of the Red Bull Rant. Thank you guys for tuning in, and as always, go Red Bull.
See you later.